So here we have my lovely Prophet 600, purchased in 1982. It's a great synth. Been in my studio, well, forever, and made a lot of great music, had a good times for it, but it's time to let it go. Got an incoming Moog, and so I'm getting this ready for its next owner. And to do that, I'm going to be cleaning up the contact switches, the pots, and basically breaking it down and giving it a good service and a mini renovation so the next user can enjoy it for years to come. First thing we're going to do to get inside this thing is got to take off these side panels. I've given that a preemptive unscrewing here, but there's 5 screws on the side. Just they come off nice and easy, and that gives you access. And it's real nice. You just lift it up, and you can get at it. So here's what you're going to need to do this repair, the service. It's not a whole lot of stuff. You're going to need, I use a old t-shirt which I cut up to make guards for the spray so it doesn't get all over the components. Need some isopropyl alcohol, or rubbing alcohol. 90% is best because the less water the better. Deoxit D5. This is for deoxidizing and lubricating all the pots and switches. A pair of tweezers in case you drop something, which I do all the time. Screwdriver, Q-tips, some padding, some towels for laying the components down on, and then some type of tray to catch your screws. And that's it. Once you got the side panels off, time to remove all the knobs, which is pretty easy. You're literally just gonna give it a little pull and it should come off nice and easy. What I would suggest is to check a few of them, give them a bit of a pull, and if it's not coming with a little gentle pressure, try a different one. Get one of them off so you understand how strong you need to pull, so you don't like rip some pot out or something. But they're plastic inside metal, so there's really nothing that can fuse unless the previous owner maybe glued it. So just word of advice. Once you get the sides off, set this back plate lovely, nice and easy. It keeps itself in place. And you can have a look at the circuitry. Pay good attention, make sure there's no breaks in the solder, any discolors. This all looks great. No issues here with any of the chips or the capacitors. I'm going fast. I've already had a look at this with the magnifying specs on there, but just give it a good old visual inspection once you got it open. I also took a toothbrush and a very light vacuum and just got all the little bits of dust and stuff that are out of here. It was actually pretty clean, but it's good best practice to do. So you're going to take off a couple of connectors. There's this ribbon one here. These you always want to be a little careful of. I've taken this off, but it's actually a double So there's actually two slots in here that these fit in, and you know, you want to just gently wiggle back and forth. It'll come. For some reason you're really trying to pull and it's not coming, stop. You do not want to strip off the you know, contacts or anything like that. And then we got this big contact here, which is for the keyboard. I just put a little mark here with the red that shows me which way up it goes. This one's pretty easy to get off. Just wiggle it back and forth, and it'll, oopsie, one hand was not so easy. And off we go. Now I've already unscrewed these, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On that one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And a little one under there. 10 screws holding these circuit boards together. And I'm just going to put something down protective before I pull those out. All right, a couple of hand towels, nice and clean. We'll do the job here. I'm going to try and do this with one hand, but you want to take these out together because they are connected by that little sucker inside there. So I'm going to try and work these out. Just go and pull that one a little bit. Get this one, and then I can just lay them right here. So now we have access to all the parts of the switches. We've got the digital display, all the LEDs, everything looks clean. Again, give this solder runs visual inspection, look for anything burnt out, discolored, anything loose. I brush this with a soft brush and a light vac just to get any surface dust out of there. Kind of interesting, we've got a nameplate here, signed by John. So John was the quality assurance tech that assembled and checked this board. You can see this board here, you got a little J here as well. Funny if you ever end up watching this tutorial. But next up is to get these switches and pots all you know, descaled and cleaned up. So we can feel this switch here it's pretty crunchy and it's intermittent when I try to use it. So we put on our overspray skirt here. Get the Detox D5. Just gonna give it a little. Keep it up there so we can get the backside. This one's nice, it has a different flow adjuster. I've got it on the lowest setting, of course. Now I'm just going to give this some back and forth motion. I can already feel this is so much smoother. So I'm going to give that a few more of these to really get rid of any oxidation and spread this nice and thin. Around the contacts, and then we'll get rid of that. Clean up. And that's what it should be good to go. So I'm going to just do a little bit more cleanup here, using some isopropyl alcohol, some Q-tips, and another fresh, clean piece of t-shirt. See just in these, focus in there, go in there, just a little bit of residue, it's probably fine, but you know, I like things to be super nice and clean, so I'm just gonna soak this with a little bit of alcohol, and then we'll wrap it around the Q-tip. I'm using a piece of cloth because I don't really want to get Q-tip fibers, you know, in the switch here. clean. Flip it up. You can't really see the gunk on the video here, but I can. So, and then that looks nice and clean. So for the potentiometers, same thing. Put my little t-shirt skirt on. See that bit starts to sink in to the pot. And just turn it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and again, you'll feel it loosening up as that oxidation breaks down. It starts to snap. All right, so now I've got my control boards back in. All screwed in nice. Got my ribbons put back. Now we're going to take off the keyboard and get those contacts cleaned. So we can leave it on the stand for this. I'm going to get underneath. And there are 6 screws holding that on. So I can show you where they are. There's one there. One here. 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 Here and here. So get those unscrewed and our keyboard should pop right out. So, there it is. Beautiful. Now I've got quite a bit of dirt and dust in here, so we'll use this as an opportunity to get that all right, much nicer. And now we've got the keyboard off. It's gonna do another little inspection of the chips and capacitors, etc., that were hidden under the keyboard. Make sure we don't see anything untoward. Again, we're looking for broken solder trails. We're looking for discoloration on the chips. Look at that, we got a little handwritten note from Sequential, 1982. Yep, sounds about right. I'm gonna give this a closer look with some magnifying specs, but looking good. So this keyboard's fine, the action's fine. There was 1 or 2 keys that would once in a while not trigger, but you know, we've got it all apart, so we're gonna clean the contacts here as well. I got it flipped upside down. This brown board here is what we need to take off. Several of these screws here. You can see these little rubber feet here are the feet for the membranes that hold the contacts. You'll see when we get this apart, but those are all intact. So none of those are missing. That's a good sign. Let's get this unscrewed. So I got my screws out. I'm gonna need 2 hands though to get these off. So just like the control board, it's actually two boards here connected with a couple of ribbons in the middle here, but essentially you just, once you got the screws off, you're just going to move it forward out of these plastic brackets and then it should come right off. All right, that came off nice and easy. You can see that's nice and dirty, so we'll be spending some time cleaning that up. You know, we're going to, these membranes are all separate. They're sections of 6, except for this one on the very end, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So just bear that in mind when you're putting it back together. All of these are the same. One of these is not like the other. I just want to pay a little attention to this. This is the membranes. They're really quite delicate. As you can see, they've got these little feet that pop into the holes there. So what I've done is I'm just being very gentle and just kind of allowing them to kind of ease themselves out. Just kind of one at a time. There we go. Obviously you don't want to yank on this and break one of these suckers off. So just be careful with those. Everything was looking pretty good here, but of course, you know, I took the swab with alcohol and just cleaned all these up. And you know, that's what came off of the entire keyboard run. So not a whole lot, but probably what was giving me that once in a blue moon intermittent misfire on one of those keys. And then cleaned up these guys real nice, and took a jeweler's loupe and really had a look at these contact patches. And they all look great. So, you know, there is, you know, if these were looking worn out, or if I was having some real problems getting notes to sound, you can get a compound that you can kind of paint on there, like a connectivity compound, to repair them. But these don't need it. They look practically brand new. It's, everything in this synth is amazing. The build quality, the circuit boards, just beautifully made. And you know, it's 40, approaching 50 years old. Looks like it came out of the factory. So putting these back on, a little fiddly. Nice thing is they've oriented the feet where you can't really mess it up. So best thing I found is to get it all placed in the right section, and then just kind of take your thumb and just kind of or nail and just kind of just pop those feet in. It'll go. Okay, that's another one. Let's get that one in. Just kind of gently push it, and you'll feel it pop as it locks into place. So a little fiddly, but not too bad. Now we've got the keyboard, you know, off. Good opportunity to give it a really good clean. Look at the difference here. Oh, 40 years of I don't know what, but a little bit of rubbing alcohol and comes out beautiful. There's always one thing when you're doing a repair. Didn't realize that these suckers came out so easy. These are the clips that hold the circuit board on. No biggie. I picked them up, I found them, but you know, thankfully they didn't fall down the side of something. But they just slot back into these empty slots. So when you put this board back on, and have a look under here, and you can see some of them are not seated quite right. No biggie. Just want to do is grab. I'm trying to do it with the camera here. Just the tweezers or just coax it back into the slot there. This guy's not looking good. You get the idea. Make sure they're all seated in there before you screw this thing down. So one of the things I do when I'm doing repairs is I use one of these magnetic screw trays because, well, I hate losing screws. But I also don't like to put magnetic screws back into electronics, so I have a little demagnetizer here. So basically, before I put these back in, I'm gonna put them on here, give it a little demagnetization. That way I got no problem. Of course, you can skip this step by not using one of these and using something else. So she's all back together, giving her a chance to warm up. So let's hear how she sounds after the overhaul. Yep, sounds kind of like a profit.